Lead poisoning. I need you guys to remember that every American before the 1980s was exposed to an inordinate amount of lead. Things are getting so much worse in this country that it's becoming impossible to ignore. This week alone, multiple teenagers were killed for no reason because they went to the wrong door or pulled into the wrong driveway or got into the wrong car in a parking lot. None of which are reasons to shoot someone. And we can talk about the gun culture, we can talk about Republican politics, and we can talk about just how everything's getting worse. But you have to remember that all of the people doing the shooting fit the profile of someone who has lead poisoning. It makes you more irritable, it makes you less empathetic, it lowers your IQ, and it gets worse over time. There was lead in the paint. There was lead in the pipes. There was lead in the gas. They put lead everywhere. They basically injected it into their own brains. And now they're aging and they're getting so much worse because American food isn't particularly nutritious and these folks aren't exercise focused. And when you don't exercise your mind and you don't give it nutrition and you pump it full of lead, you basically don't have a brain anymore. So you take this brain that you've punched holes into with lead and you sit it in an easy chair where it never moves and you shove non-nutritious processed foods in it all day and just pump propaganda from the television or the Facebook feed. It's just, you're under attack, your country's under attack, they're coming for your children. And all that's just glazing over this brain full of holes. Is it any wonder that things are getting so much worse? Anyone who's ever had a loved one afflicted by Alzheimer's knows how horrifying it is to watch them lose their sense of self. This is happening to all the boomers because they're full of lead. The guns are obviously the problem, as are the Republican politics, but we've had guns and propaganda in America for a really long time. And while things have never been great, they certainly haven't gotten to this level of absurd. So that's why I think that the real underlying factor here is that our huge chunk of the population has had their brains destroyed. I hear it constantly. I don't know my parents anymore. After the 2016 election, it's like they changed. And I don't think it was just the politics. I think they're more susceptible to propaganda now. I think they're more susceptible to cruelty and anger and vitriol. I think they're physically incapable of recognizing what they're doing. This absolves no blame, none whatsoever. I just am giving an underlying cause. Also racism and bigotry and misogyny and all that stuff. We stuff we know. But that all comes from the brain. And their brains don't work.